Good day there, everybody, and welcome to episode 5 of the Seablock. I did a little bit of grinding off camera, just like I announced there, and I really didn't build too much. I'm going to show you around, and I'm going to show you the differences. So I'm not sure if all this pipe mumbo jumbo was still there at the end of the last episode or not. I turned off this whole thing, and I'm only running 2 of the electrolyzers right now. The other 2, they're not running right now because I don't have the power actually to let them run the whole time. So my ore production is a little bit slower than I like it to be, but whatever. Over here I started to produce some alginic acid out of the brown balls. This production cycle has as a leftover, so tried to do something more useful. We're producing sand over here now on a regular basis, so the whole output of these 4 buddies here is getting into this burner ore crusher. So as you can see, the net rate is neutral, so it's producing exactly the amount of slag this machine needs. So we're having here sand production. And over here, I have tidied up this whole production chain a little bit and expanded it. The last episode I left off with only 2 of these LJ farms. Now we're using 4 of them. And I've also invented logistics between the episodes, because this was the easiest way to separate these 2 belts from each other, because everything else, filter inserters are I'm a long way away from that. And yeah, so right now I'm actually having a buildup on these green balls, so whatever, it's working right now, but it's not optimized. I was not able to put up a optimized build at this point because overall I was just grinding out for materials to expand the island a little bit. I don't know if you've noticed it, but this place is a little bit bigger than the last episode when we left off. And yeah, the automated sand production definitely helped a lot here. So in between, my iron plates went down to 0, so I am producing every scrap of iron now myself, and you really feel how much starting money I have in the stone in the beginning of the series. So it's all spent now. We're now earning our own money, and it's painfully slow. Like, grabbing iron is now such a painfully slow process, especially since I'm only having these 2 electrolyzers here. So that's enough of the overview part. We're gonna get to the content, but before I do that, I want to ask you for some thumbs up or subscriptions for my channel if you want to support me and my work. If not, just watch the video. I'm very, very grateful for your attention anyways. So today I've added the Helmod into the series, and I just had to use it at this point because this mod pack is so complex. It's a real pain to figure it out, and I'm going to show you guys why I had to start using Helmod. I'm going to put the MaxRateCalculator grid on this situation here, and now we have the LJ farms and the assembling machines in the box here. So as we can see here, there's a deficit of 0.9 units of cellulose fibers per second, so that's bad. And if I look at this thing, it produces 1.5 cellulose fibers per second, so this means I need an uneven amount of assembling machines to keep up with this production. And then there's also the problem that this machine only produces 0.4 per second, and if I remember correctly, this doesn't add up with the max consumption of this machine either. Long story short, this mod is just working with lots of odd numbers, and it's a true pain to figure that out without the help of a mod, and that's where the Helmod comes into play. So with Helmod I figured out the production amounts I need. So let's head over here. I set up a planning chain for the production of energy. I haven't yet completely understood the whole bandwidth of this tool, okay? So I'm really using only basic functions of the Helmod here, but it's already helping me a lot. So I went into there and I went there and told the program that I want 3.6 megawatt of output here. So here. And I went for the 3.6 because that's roughly what we're producing right now, with the help of the wind turbines, and the other point 3.6 because every steam engine produces 900 kilowatts, so you can figure that's the output of 4 of these buddies. So the Helmod now does the following. It now calculates for me it needs 120 units of steam per second to get this power production. So here are the boilers. I need 2 of them. That's what the thing already calculates. I need 4 of the steam engines, and the ingredients are 120 units of water, easy. There's a pump for that, and 0.5 units of wood pellets. So one thing the Helmod here does for me, it actively calculates the full fuel consumption of this array per second for me. And believe me, it's no fun to calculate that on your own. So really useful function. So this told me I need a wood pellet production of 0.5 per second. So when we look at this here, haha, that's only 0.4. So for a bigger array, I will need the wood pellet production. So that's why I set up the same thing for the wood pellet production. So now you can see I configured it to show me the necessary machinery for 0.5 of those. So it's going to be 2 factories of the assembling machines, sure. We're going to need 3 units of cellulose fibers per second, okay. We're going to need 3 assembling machines for cellulose fibers, okay. We're going to need 6 LJ per second, okay. And we're going to need a whopping amount of 10 LJ farms, so it's a lot of work to do, my friends. So that's where we're headed for today. I want to build up a sustainable power grid. So the most fun part about this, production alone to satisfy these this array here will need 1.4 MW, while this array will produce 3.6 MW. So basically 1/3 of its own production gets eaten up by just the production of the fuel itself. Oh, this mod is so much fun. Like, I really appreciate it. I'm not making this up. Like, I like challenges. So that's why I went to grind materials for like pretty much an hour or such off camera, because honestly the sad truth about oops, it's the wrong thing stuff. Sad truth about the Seablock is it's a grind. It's a big old grind. So I mean, I love idle games, so I don't mind, but the grind amount on this one is really big. So let's check out what we can do already. So I have one LJ farm already available, but apart from that, the iron plates are letting me down. So I don't assume that I'm able to build up the whole array during this episode, but we're gonna make sure that we're gonna have the room for that, and I mean, we're gonna need 10 of those. So I think of a 5-on-5 construction, honestly, so possibly gonna do something like that. And once this whole thing is done, I'm gonna be focusing into the production of ore in a more maximized way. So the way I see the Seablocks so far is the biggest challenge is that you have to focus your goals quite good. Like I wasted materials during the start. It fully hit me during the time between this and the last episode, how much of the materials I just flat out wasted with and I just didn't know how precious the stuff was that I had in the starting rock. But I don't mind. I would do it again. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna toss some of the crushed stone I have directly into the liquefier. I mean, this stuff eats up the crushed stone like crazy. I mean, I don't even know what would be the maximum production amount. Like, okay, 1 second crafting time, and it's producing 100 units of mineralized water. We can ask Helmod later on when there's nothing to do anymore. And see how many electrolyzers would be actually necessary to feed just one liquefier completely. I'm gonna have that funny thing going in between. But that's why I'm really grateful towards the person who mentioned Helmod the first time to me, because this is the kind of power tool which makes this whole gaming masochism a lot easier to endure. Also, I've enhanced the light settings, because in some other series I've had some people complaining a little bit about the night being too dark to see what I'm doing, so I changed that, friends. Okay. Now, what up next? I really need to rearrange this whole array in some way, because right now, yeah, well, I have to move this whole thing for sure. So the other thing I really forgot about is I should be crafting. Like, I have so much cellulosic pulp in my inventory. I focus on crafting as much as possible in between, because it is just that important. And also, I've figured that I have now enough sand for the moment, because this is just not necessary to do this permanently, but I do like to have this array, because it helps me to produce soil quicker. And in this mod, your handcrafting slots are valuable. Let's just say it like this: your handcrafting slots are very valuable. So one other problem I'm seeing here is that I don't have too much bandwidth left to set up extra LJ farms. So possibly I would need to shut down some of that production at some point. Maybe the crushed stone production, I don't know yet. So one other thing I want to do in between the episodes is building up a efficient flare stack network, because right now I'm just wasting a lot of electricity here. So overall, during the next 2 or 3 episodes, I want to tidy up this place a little bit, because in the beginning I just went with the flow, and I just built as I had it in mind, and now I'm starting slowly to optimize things a little bit more. Because that's just the way I like to play the game. I like to jump heads on into the mistakes and then sort them out later. So I'm getting now more crushed stone to work with, but as you can see, 200 units of crushed stone, they're so meaningless. They're just so meaningless. Oh, but there's ore left in the crystallizer. Okay. But it definitely does speed up things if I do it like that. And toss that crushed stone out of this array into the liquefier as well. You really notice the difference. So what's lacking? Stone bricks. Oh my goodness. Now the next pain commences. Okay, friends. For the stone bricks, I luckily noticed that we can't do them by hand, sure, but where is it at? Oh, luckily there's a search function there, so there. So we can do stone by handcrafting, luckily, and I guess that's what I'm gonna do now for a while, because I'm gonna set up another good old furnace. I'm gonna craft that one first. There we go. And I'm gonna smelter some bricks in there, because I just seem to need a few of those at this point. Okay, because without bricks there will be no more LJ farms, and that's not cool, man. We need LJ farms. So as you can see, there's always something else, but I have enough iron plates, possibly enough to satisfy the needs of the other LJ farms. I need 10 of those, so right now I have 6. I need 4 more. That's 40 plus 32. I would need 72. Yeah, so yes, I have already enough iron plates. Nice. Okay. So I don't need to rush too hard with the stone production into ore. I just can't produce those stone bricks lazily in between. Okay. So, oh, you know what I need as well? Steam and a boiler and 2 steam engines. I don't have those either. So, well, 1 boiler. That was the easy part. The steam engine, that's the harder part. Okay, so, well, let's go back to rock crafting. I really like this mod because it has this Robinson Crusoe feeling to me. Like, I feel like I'm stranded on that space rock, and I have to struggle terribly. I would love to have some ball with a face painted on it, which I could talk to. That would be a fitting decoration item to the theme of this playthrough. Because seriously, I'm even missing the biters at this point. I'm even missing them good old biters. They at least cared about me. Okay. So that's SeaBlock in a nutshell. Running between your resource production thingies and handcrafting a crap ton. So let's. I mean, sure, I could automate a lot more, but right now my power grid is just stable as it is. Like, I tried it off camera. The moment I put on another electrolyzer, everything starts to freak out and collapse because the fuel production is not enough. And yeah, thing is about the array here that this doesn't produce pellets at max speed because I don't produce enough cellulose fibers. So that's the big hassle there. So I was thinking sometime if I would start this episode before I have the LJ farms or while I'm collecting the rest of the materials, but I decided then to invite you guys into the full bandwidth of the thought process behind this crazy mod. You have to plan so much, and as far as the people who are talking to me are concerned, I'm only scratching the surface here. This is only the beginning. I'm really looking forward to the rest of it. So overall, I think though this series will be accompanying me for quite a while here, because this is certainly nothing I'm gonna finish in a few days. So but at least I'm starting to get closer to the full amount of LJ farms here. And once I have 10 of those, I'll probably stop producing so much, producing so many bricks and start producing more ore. Because this right now is my biggest bottleneck, I think. The ore production is just... it's a joke, basically. But producing stone right now was, for me, a way more important goal. Especially since I noticed that you can manually feed the stone into the machinery, so... I felt like this part of the machine was more important than this part of the machine for my advancement, because more ground to walk on is pretty crucial, you know. Okay, I'm almost done with number 10. So I'm only lacking a few more iron plates. Am I? A few more, all of them. Haha. But at least I'm now happy about seeing the sapphirite ore a lot more, because iron is just not that available anymore. Okay. Okay. Come on, just a few more, guys. 10. We need 8 more. That's the amount I needed. Okay. I had off camera a moment where I used all of 4 of them for a while, and I mean, this is still a quite puny production, having 4 electrolyzers on one liquefier, but oh man, it felt like I felt like a rich man. I felt like I was alive again. This mod is so crazy. Oh, I'm not crafting anymore. Quickly, quickly, craft. You know, some other thing. Somebody mentioned in the comments the ABCs, always be crafting. So, promise I'm gonna build something in a minute. Once I have the materials necessary for the last LJ farm, that is. So for now, I'm gonna keep some of the stones there in my pocket. Okay, now then, I thought about something like, well, the belt is not, the belt is wrong right now, and I would need to go a little bit more downwards with that if I would, this is not so important right now. I'm gonna do it like this. Oh no, that's too narrow. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. So we're gonna lead some belt through here. And I need some splitter as well. And we need power, and we need so many things the whole time. Need. But at least I can now toss the crushed stone into that. So overall, we have at least now the necessary parts to build up a steady production of power for our base. Like, once this complex is running, I will have the ability to sustain 4 steam engines permanently, and from there on, my production will ramp up insanely. Like, it's going to be such a big difference, because all of a sudden I will be able to produce ore permanently and do a lot more things. Even research. Oh, speaking about research, was there anything I definitely wanted to research? Yeah, the washing process is something I'm really curious about, because this looks like another means to gain soil, but I'm not there yet. Okay. So right now I'm speeding up my ore production as much as I can by tossing in there as many crushed stones as I can find, because I really want to get ahead now. But at least while being very, very tedious, you have a lot of things to micromanage while you're playing, so it's at least not boring in any way. So, I don't know, will this thing be, is actually one inserter enough, I wonder? Like, yeah, it is, okay. Lucky us. So we only need 2 inserters more. So at this point I'm really close to hitting the mark, but I'll still need another steam engine to go completely online with this, because I really want to fire up all the parts at the same time to ensure that the production will be balanced, because nothing would be worse than destroying my power balance, you know. I mean, it's not the end of the world, you can always hand feed stuff, but it would be nicer if everything just worked from the start, and I'll just, well, I'm just gonna do some more wooden boards in between. They're not really that important right now, but it's quite nice to have those. I mean, I have all this alginic acid here, but at least the brown balls get used up at this point. I mean, I checked out how many different sorts of LJ the mod has, and it's quite insane to put it into sophisticated words. Okay. So, I'm starting to have some plates again. Wonderful. So, this also means I'll just place down the things I need. Okay, we're gonna cancel all the other productions in between. Should do this differently the next time. So I'm gonna do one more splitter now. And hand feed the ore production all night long. I can't wait for the moment when this thing is really taking off, because one good thing about this whole way to play is that everything here is infinite. Like, everything I build up will never run dry. There are no ore patches which will deplete or such. No, nothing. Everything I build has some kind of permanence, and this is something I really enjoy about this mod pack so far. Okay, I should do this somehow differently, don't you think? If I would get the input of this whole thing this way around, that would be nice, wouldn't it? I mean, let's just get this through. Like, I mean, this would be only, what? This wouldn't be overstressing the belt capacity at all. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. It's some work involved, but it's certainly a good thing to do. I mean, there are so many ways to solve this little ordeal here, but yeah. Right now, I should be possibly also focusing on the steam engine a little bit more as well. But I guess I now have the belts I'll need. I mean, I have so many ground to pipe connection, pipe to ground connections here. I might as well use them. So there's definitely some chance to connect this thing otherwise, so. Oh, there's my wind park in the way, but I can't fix that. Oh, okay. I mean, it's not about the room for the wind pipes so much anymore. Wind turbines so much anymore. So no, I can't do this like that. Whatever. The easiest way would be an underground belt. No, not the easiest way. The way I want to do it right now. Let's put it into more realistic words. Okay. So, one underground belt coming up hot, because I'll just stick with that, whatever. So I'm gonna check out if I have any chance of connecting this somehow differently. Something, no, that won't work either. Oh, that's, I see a very easy solution to the problem. There we go. Okay. So I'm possibly just gonna toss that splitter somewhere here and filter out the brown balls at this side, because this will allow me also a very simple way of funneling these two things into each other without using even more materials, you know. I'm already feeling like I'm using way more than I should. And that's possibly true. But I'm not odd to set up a speed record here for this playthrough, so... There we go. So there's the brown ball drop depot, and I haven't fully decided how I want to do it at this point. Maybe I'll just let it run down, let it run up there. I think that would be even better. let's do it like that. It's even better. So we have to change the direction. Rotate that one. Yeah. I like that solution now more, because it'll just allow me to use less resources and achieve the same thing. There we go. So that's how my builds work quite often. I set up quite a jumble at the beginning, and I start optimizing it while I'm working with it, while I'm noticing its flaws, and I think that's quite amusing every time while I'm going through it. But I personally am a person, I don't use blueprints at all. I personally have a strong aversion against most blueprints, because they I don't know. What I personally really like about Factorio the most is thinking about how to build things, and a blueprint finalizes that thought process. I mean, at some point, I guess it's quite normal to put down blueprints and use them, because some production chains are just so repetitive, boring, and annoying to build and everything, that you want to put it into a blueprint at some point, sure, but I don't know. I'll use blueprints for robots, which are built for me, but apart from that, I'd prefer to think about how to build it every time, because this is part of the game for me. But I don't judge about anybody who's loving his blueprints. Please don't get me wrong here. This is not a competition. This is a question of how you personally like your food. Like, some people like more spice, some people like less spice. I always notice that gamers tend to get judgmental towards each other from time to time, because somehow we gamers tend to think that we found the ultimate way of enjoying a game. It's something I noticed a lot between gamers. But honestly, game experiences that differ from person to person so much. It's amazing. Anyways, my friends, gonna be setting up the rest of this array off camera, because as you can see right now, I'm grinding materials and starting to philosophize about gaming in general, and I'm gonna be needing like a few more minutes where pretty much nothing will happen at this point, and I'll just return to you when I have all the materials to set up this complex here. Maybe I'll arrange this whole thing a little bit more efficient, because I'm really unhappy with the way they are organized. This is not how I want to do it, but then on the other hand, it works with the given space. So whatever might be the case, my friends, I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. When we're done with this episode, we're gonna have power to do other fantastic things during the next episode. So yeah, I hope you're coming back for the next part of the C block, and until then, have a good time, my friends, and goodbye.